Coming Soon podcast with Spider.
Hello, everybody. Spider here once again. Coming Soon podcast, San Antonio, Texas, being joined by Ellie Church. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty great. I mean, I know earlier I did mention that I was in Texas, and I gotta ask. I mean, how's the weather out there in your neck of the woods?
It is gorgeous today. I went outside for a bike ride. It's perfect today.
Nice, and of course, I mean, this week's been warm for us, so I guess summer's coming. You know, last week it was winter. I think next
Yeah,
week
for
we're
sure.
expecting earthquakes,
Same
so
here.
we'll see. But yeah, I wanted to bring you on here for a few reasons. I mean, of course, being involved in the indie horror world, which I like to call, because it's a world of its own. For those that don't know, there's a lot that happens. It's as big as I always tell people, as big as it is, it's a small community. Everybody knows everybody,
Yeah,
and
for
yeah,
sure.
it's just great to network and meet other people. So. Of course, let's start with that. When it comes to filming, was being in film the first thing that drew you towards film? I mean, was it makeup? Was
Nope.
it anything else?
No, not at all. And actually, what I was gonna say, that's what I like about this is that you go live, and every once in a while, just see it pop up on my Instagram, and it is a great way to like learn about new people if I don't know them. So I really enjoy that about this.
Yeah,
But
for
no,
sure.
I mean, man, there's a lot of things that got me into wanting to act. I didn't even realize that's what it was when I was younger. I just like wanted to get my cousins together to do plays or skits or whatever for our parents, things like that. And then when my parents got a camcorder, that was kind of a game changer because me and one friend in particular just did little movies. I guess they weren't really movies. They were skits. They were like little
Yeah.
comedy skits. And we made props for them. We did hair and makeup for them and costumes and everything. We put a lot of work into those. And then I think I turned into a teenager and thought I was too cool for everything for a while. And once I got out of that phase, which was like when I was like in my late 20s, probably, I started working at a convention table for trauma.
Okay.
And so whenever they would come into town or anywhere close, I would just kind of go hang out at the table, help them sell stuff, just kind of like be around it. And I thought it was super fun. And Lloyd was like, "Why don't you act?" I was like, "I don't know. I didn't think I could do that." And he was like, "Yeah, you can totally do that. I'll introduce you to some people." So that's kind of that's where it started.
No, for sure. And then the reason I was asking was because, of course, for myself, I mean, I've been wanting to do it for years. I always tell people, before COVID, I had gone to a few auditions, and I said, man, let me try it out. It's for indie films. Of course, COVID happened, and after that, it's like nothing happened for a while. But the timing for me was perfect. My kids are older now; they're on their own, and now it's like, okay, now I got time to do stuff. And so I
Yeah.
jumped on it, like, like I jumped on it last year to where I've been busy. I've been jumping on a lot of short films, indie horror films. I mean, indie films in general, and it's been fun. I mean, you mentioned earlier before we got on here. I mean, it's just you and a bunch of friends that you have that you guys always get to work and do stuff, and it's the same here. I've been having a blast. It's always cool for me, like when I work with different directors, so it's like running into the same people from the past project. I'm like, oh man, you're here too, like cool, man. Like it's just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable, so it is fun though.
Yeah, definitely. And it's addictive. So like once you get started and you start meeting people, it's kind of hard to ever want to quit. So I don't see that happening for me.
You see, and I was gonna say too, because there's times where it's like this past 2 weeks or 3 weeks has been nothing. And I'm like, damn, like I'm anxious. Like I'm like, man, who else is shooting? What else is going on? Or, I mean, I also love to do a lot of BTS. So, I do a lot of behind the scenes shots, and even those, like if somebody invites me, like I'll show up and, get to work and grab some content and just, I mean, grab footage while everybody else is working, which is fine. As long as I'm in there, that's my fix. I'm good.
Yeah, I totally agree. if I took a break, me and my husband both did, because my husband makes his own films also. So we both took like a 4 or 5 year break, and when I got back in
Okay.
it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm back. I missed it really bad.
And I mean, let me ask you this: so, with your husband being in film as well, I mean, those like projects that you yourself jump on, or do you just help out in other ways?
Sometimes, because he's a cinematographer for the most part. I mean, he does a lot of things, but that's kind of what he does for other people if he works for other people. So sometimes he'll go off and do his own cinematography gig, and sometimes I'll go off and do my own acting gig. But we do have our own, like, we've got a couple of production companies that we're both in, and we make those together. And usually I'm acting in those, whether it be the lead or not, you know. And yeah, so I mean, we'll go do our own things sometimes, but we always end up doing all of our other projects together that we make ourselves.
No, no, for sure. And I was going to ask too because you mentioned making films. I mean, with the family, with the cousins. I know IMDb is not always accurate. I mean, as far as film, I think they have you down as 2013. I mean, when it was like your actual first movie. So is that accurate? I mean, is that where it started for you?
Yeah, I always say that it's 2011, but I really think that's when I shot my very first thing, and it wasn't I didn't have lines. It was like a green screen acting thing, but
Right.
that was the first time that I was in front of a camera, was that. And production, it was called Science, Sex, and the Ladies, and it was a sort of a documentary about the female orgasm. So that was my very first thing I ever did.
Okay, okay. And I mean, with that being said, I mean, a lot of the movies that you've been in, I mean, of course, a lot of them have been indie horror. I mean, is that the genre that you're kind of more attracted to, or are there others out there that you want to jump on?
I feel like I feel like I kind of started there, and I think I kind of got good at that, maybe, like especially like a distress role or whatever, because that's kind of, I I look like this, so I usually get cast in like some girl running through the woods from something. But like I I feel like I started in that and kind of, you know, did well at that. And then after after that, I really wanted to branch out, and I still do. I want to do all kinds of things. I want to do like character roles. I want to do really challenging things. It's not necessarily my preferred, but it is my first, and which
Right.
means it's comfortable for me to do. Um, I would love to, do more villain roles in that, which I've only gotten to do like a couple, sort of villain roles in horror. But yeah, I would love to do everything. I want to do everything. So it's not necessarily my preferred, but like I said, it's just kind of comfortable.
No, yeah, and I mean, of course, I'm sure it keeps you busy, because if there's
Yeah,
nothing going on and they ask you, of course, you're going to be like, yeah, I'll jump on that.
hell yeah.
Now, and I should have asked this at the beginning, but I mean, when it came to jumping on films, I mean, I know I mentioned earlier, the indie world is on its own separate level. I mean, it's not mainstream, so a lot of people don't know a lot of the actors. I mean, you can mention, for example, for Lisa Rose, and people aren't going to know who that is, but for those in the indie world, of course, she's out there, man. She's actually, you know, uh, been there, done that, and still doing it. Great person. And so it's like, for yourself, are you looking? Would you be comfortable staying in the indie world? I mean, is that something that you're like, you know what? If I don't get to break through, I mean, would you be comfortable just staying in indie films?
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's I don't know. In the indie, I always tell people this, and it's silly, but like, I live in Atlanta, and a lot of films are made here, and I would do, definitely. I mean, I think anyone would go do a show or a bigger thing, but what
Right.
would happen here is that I would be background in a toothpaste commercial,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean. Like it's not going to be as fun for me, trying to get into that you know, and then the whole agent thing is a whole thing. So yeah, I don't know, like I would do either one as long as I was acting. I really don't care. Like I want to do good, interesting roles. I would love good writing. I would love good movies, good things to participate in. Uh and I think as long as I'm doing that and I feel like fulfilled with doing the things that I'm doing, I mean, I'll do this forever.
Yeah. No, no, for sure, and I agree. I mean, myself, I've actually had opportunities to get on a few as an extra, of course, on Netflix shows, and it's like it's always like, okay, cool, man, and of course, work gets in the way, so I can't do them. But yeah, I would love to be able to jump on something, and even if it's, I mean, for the most part, I mean, they pay, so that'd be pretty good, I mean, I'd go out there and get a
Oh
payday,
yeah.
paycheck, but I'd be an extra background, whatever, but it'd be fun, and like you said, I mean, as long as I'm on set, I think that'd be great, and at the same time, you get to meet, more people, and that's kind of what I like about it. It's just networking, and whenever I finish shooting a scene, and I'm talking to somebody or everybody, and I'm like, man, what else are you working on, man? Like, if y'all hear anything, like, give me a heads up or tag me, and just for me to stay busy and stay active.
Yeah, for sure. And like you were saying about Felissa, it's like, yeah, like she puts herself out there too. And like she's always super nice and she's always
Oh
in
yeah.
front of the faces. So like we all know Felissa and we know who she is. And like it's a indie horror is a very small world. And like once people know who you are in that, then it's not, challenging to get roles. People see what you do, and if they like it, they'll consider you, and that's nice.
No, no, yeah, they'll definitely keep calling you.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask about this IMDb credit because, of course, mentioned earlier. I mean, they have you down as far as being an actress. Of course, they got you in the makeup department and special effects. So, what exactly is that? I mean, were you helping with makeup? I mean, backstage, or how did that go in there?
Yeah. I like, for example, there's a movie we did called Plank Face, and I did like set design on that, and a little bit of special effects makeup. We did, like a throat slash gag that me and my husband worked on, and um, there's a nail through the foot. Just it's not a ton of special effects in that movie, but there are a few, and like I did the wardrobe for that and all of the makeup. There's a feral family in that movie, and they have to look really fucking gross and dirty. So yeah, I mean, that for me was like a mostly behind the scenes movie, and I think I learned a lot on that. I think the thing that I learned the most is to uh prepare yourself for wearing that many hats.
No, no, yeah, for sure, and that's what I was going to say too. I mean, because even, I mean, the indie world, of course, the budget, so the director, doing 2, 3 jobs or 5,
Oh yeah, I
depending
mean,
on it.
in our we have a tiny little crew, so it's like everybody's doing whatever they can. It's not, we don't, I mean, of course we have our own jobs, but what if you can move something, move it,
Yeah. No, no, I agree. As soon as you're out of the scene, it's like, okay, now you hold on to the mic, get the boomstick,
Yeah.
and keep going. So I mean, that's always cool, and that's what I like about it too, because it's like I always tell people, if it's not in front of the camera, I would love to work behind the camera. Like, it doesn't matter as far as when it comes to working on set. I mean, I'm down for whatever, and I've helped out with a lot of different things. So you know, it keeps me busy. And at the same time, directors get to know you, and they're like, man, you know what? Let me put the. I guess I don't know if they feel sorry for me, but they're like, let me put this guy in the film for them.
Yeah.
So I'll take it. But yeah, it's just. I mean, once they realize that you're sticking around and you're going to be there, it's like, man, they'll keep calling you. And that's pretty much how
Yeah.
it's been working. So it's been pretty great. Now, let me ask you, because of course, when it comes to acting, I mean, have you been involved in writing? Because I know you said you help with the set, but do you write yourself?
Oh no. No, I am a big reader. I am not a good writer. I have
Yeah.
tried. And then I read it and I said, this is horrible. I don't, and it's not something that I'm, it's not something I'm really seeking out. I think it'd be cool, to write and direct something, but I understand my strengths and my weaknesses, and that's definitely not one of my strengths.
No, no, for sure. And that's how I always like to ask because I mean, for me, it's always been like from what I've seen, it's always an evolution. I mean, a lot of times, people start with acting and they end up directing, or they end up writing, or they end up, producing. I mean, it's just something they just, I guess, after a while, they kind of feel like, man, maybe I should try this or do this. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see you directing in a few years. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like I might be okay with like actor directing, but not.
Okay.
I mean, I'd have to have somebody who totally knew what they were doing as far as like camera work and lighting, and like I can't direct any of that. Actor directing, yeah, cool. I can tell you maybe how to feel, but
No, no, and of course, I mean, I did get a few BTS shots from your page, and I was going to post some up because they're pretty dramatic. I mean, this is one of them. I mean, tell us about this. What happened here?
that is the behind the scenes pic from our new feature that we just shot and is almost done. Gush. So that is, I don't want to give too much of that away, but that is from the very kind of beginning scenes of the movie, and we shot that at a place called Digital Thunderdome here in Georgia. And yeah, it's a studio, so we didn't have a car that we turned over.
Okay, and I was gonna say, I see whose car was that? I was like, damn, I joke around and I tell people, I've used like 3 of my vehicles in indie films, and I'm like, man, my vehicle's got more IMDb credit than I do. I'm like, what's going on? But yeah, so that was a studio. So the vehicle just happened to be upside down, or is that something that they
Yeah,
allowed you guys
yeah,
to do?
it's just something they have
Okay.
there in their parking lot. Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, sure, that works. At least you guys didn't have to flip it over.
Yeah, that would have been tough.
And of course, I mean, with scenes like that, I mean, what is it that like how do you dig deep to get into character? I mean, if somebody's telling you, like you mentioned earlier, you're in distress, you're running. I mean, what do you kind of like backtrack? Do you think about films? Do you think about, the time you got chased by a dog? I mean, what happens?
I don't know. I there's sometimes when I really need to turn it on, like, and I really need to think about something like this sounds awful. This sounds really bad, but if it's really bad and I feel like I really have to turn on the tears, I think about my son.
Oh, okay.
And like, what if something, I know this is so bad. What if something happened to them? Like,
Yeah.
that makes me cry every time. I'm almost crying right now thinking about it.
Oh, wow.
But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, no, I mean, like, I feel like but at the same time, I feel like I've always kind of been that sort of person that can just kind of turn it on and off like a light switch. So, unless it's really dramatic or like it's really out there for me, I feel like I can kind of just turn it on and off.
Man, you see, I haven't had that role yet, but I always keep eye drops in my bag. So if that happens, that's the route I'm gonna have to take because I don't think I'd be able to turn in, do that. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know, who knows, but
And
they,
there's stuff that we've done. Like we did this movie called Bad Man,
yeah.
and the whole thing is just a super head trip. Horrible things are happening the whole time. And when we were filming it, it wasn't pleasant to imagine these things were happening the whole time that we were filming. And when we've shot it was almost toward the end, the final scene.
Yeah.
I was ready for it because all of that stuff that we had been through just really put me there. And that's what I like about when you film things in order for the most part. Most things aren't shot that way. But to me, filming a movie in order really helps with the emotion that you need to have.
No, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too, because I mean, a lot of times, they'll film scenes before and after. They're like, oh, we'll go back to that one later. So it's like, I mean, how can you switch?
It's
Do
hard. It's
that?
not. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not easy to do.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, I've had situations like that. I mean, it's never been emotional, like as far as like them telling me like, "Hey, you're gonna start crying or start," But it's been easy for me because it's not like detailed. But yeah, but if you're in a situation and you're like you said, you're bawling and you're crying, and they're like, "Okay, cut. Okay, we're gonna continue next week." You're like, "What the heck?" Now you got to go through all that again.
Yeah.
Man. And of course, as far as films, because you have done quite a bit. I mean, you've got like so many indie film credits, some of the people that you worked with, I mean, of course, for the most part, have been in the indie world. I mean, is there somebody that stands out more than the other? I mean, not to, but I mean, but because of the timing, or maybe, you guys, the chemistry that was on set.
You mean like as far as people I like to work with, or?
Yeah, like one movie that stands out the most. I mean, just because of
Okay.
everything going on.
I mean, there's lots of them that stand out for different reasons. For the most part, I always said The Bad Man was like an example of um my best acting. I felt like that for a long time. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I'll have to watch them back to back, but Gush might be the new one, might be the one that I tell people to go to see an example of, acting. Amazon Hotbox, I got to be like a character, I got to be a villain. There were funny parts to it, like I don't know, that was a special one for me because I got to be like a real character, but yeah, I think there's so many of them that stand out in so many different ways. Space Babes from Outer Space was one of my first like comedies, and I got to just play a clueless alien girl, which was fun, and did a lot of set design and stuff on that too. I don't know, I could go on forever. Like there's so many reasons, so many of them are special to me, or stand out. I did a little wraparound part for a movie called Skeletons in the Closet. That was a really good experience. I felt like the directing was amazing, and like the set design was amazing, and everything about it just looked really great. Yeah, so I'll shut up about that. There's so
I
many.
mean, that's fine, and I mean that's I was just curious about that because I mean, for me, I agree. I mean, every film project that I've worked on, I mean, for all the different reasons, because of the people that were there, because of the way the director worked, the way everything just kind of clicked and everything went
No, it
smooth.
could just be like an awesome cast and crew, like
Oh yeah,
just
yeah,
really awesome people that you get to spend your days with for like a week or two or however long you're there. That really makes a difference, just like it does with any job. It's like if I enjoy the people I'm working around,
true.
I'm gonna enjoy that more, the whole
Definitely.
experience.
No, for sure. And of course, I mean, when it comes to shooting films, I mean, has everything been local for you?
No. So I started out in the Midwest, but and I got most of my gigs in like, I don't know, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois area when I first started. But it kind of once we started doing like conventions and film festivals, I was meeting more people, and I was going up to Virginia, or then I was coming down here to Atlanta, or you know Pennsylvania. Like it's kind of been all over the place. I did one in California this year. I've done one in Vegas. It's kind of all over the US.
Yeah. No, and the reason I was asking about that was because, of course, I mean, when it comes to film, I haven't had to travel outside the state yet. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, but when it comes, I mean, Texas is huge, so of course, 8 hours, I'm still in Texas, right? I mean, I'm still driving, but
Right. Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah, it's out there. But yeah, I mean, that's got to be one of the fun things that you're allowed or able to do that, because of course,
Yeah. And a lot of places I wouldn't travel to the middle of nowhere, Virginia
yeah.
on my own, but it's cool that I got to go there, spend a week arm, like it's just weird opportunities that you get.
No, and of course, I mean, working conventions because that's another thing that I do here. I mean, locally, when it comes to San Antonio, I am a moderator for a few events, so I get to do the Q&A panels and talk to the guests and hang out with the guests, which is freaking awesome. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's fun. I mean, I'm out there. Working a table or having a booth. I mean, how fun is it? Because of course, you get to meet people from all walks of life, but at the same time, you get to network. So I mean, do you enjoy that? Oh, think I lost her. Give it a few seconds, guys. You there?
So I kind of
Think I lost you. Give it a second, real quick, guys. Sorry about that.
Back up.
Yeah, I think I lost you. Are you still there? Give it a second, guys. Let it buff. If Are you there? There you go. You're good.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're good.
Okay. No, no, yes, yes. I actually have you on my phone, and I can
I
see you
think
still
so.
moving, but on
You're still
the
cutting
keyboard.
out.
No, no, yeah. But I was just saying, I mean, when it comes to the conventions, I mean, how fun is it? I mean, that you get to work a booth and actually meet people from everywhere. I mean, depending what state you're on, you know.
Yeah, it's really fun because I mean, with our own film self-distribute, for the most part, and we used to when I because I don't want to get into this, but like Blu-rays and DVDs really dropped off as far as sales. So we used to go, and that was always like the most fun part for me. It's like, damn, I get to like buy all these fun, cool movies and then like see who these people are and if I don't know them and all that. Man, the conventions were so much fun to do, like meeting people and going to screenings and people coming to your
Oh, yeah.
screenings. Like, yeah, super great. It was a really, really fun time.
You see, and let me ask you, because you just mentioned as far as DVDs and all that. I mean, are you a fan of physical media?
Oh yeah, I've got a huge DVD collection, Blu-ray collection, and some VHS too. But yeah, I still go to thrift stores to this day and
Oh yeah.
pick up whatever I can that I don't have. We're gonna have to build more shelves pretty soon.
No, you see, and actually, I have some DVDs behind me. I mean, I'm the same way. I've got, I've barely this year I picked up my first Blu-ray, and that was because of a film that I was in, and it was only released on Blu-ray. So I was like, damn, I don't even have a Blu-ray player, so I still got to get one. But
Oh
but it,
man, yeah, you gotta get one.
yeah, yeah, because I actually have like since then I've picked up three, so I'm like, yeah, you know what, I definitely gotta, pick one up, and it's just I've been DVDs like for years, and VHS, of course. I stopped at a certain point. Actually, I had a shed that I had transformed into like a video store type thing. I don't know why. It was just I was bored. It was after COVID, and I ended up selling everything. I was just like, man, you know what? Put a price tag on it and sold it. And they paid pretty well, but I had a lot of good stuff though, man. I mean, I kept a lot of my go tos, like when it comes to like films that I always watch, but I got rid of quite a few, quite a few. Let me see if I can. Are you still there? I don't know if I can hear you.
Oh man, yeah. I when we moved to Georgia. Oh no, hold on. You hear me
You're
now?
still there? Yes, I can still hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, good. I was trying something out, see if my headphone would work with you. I Yeah, we sold a bunch of our VHS when we moved to Georgia, just because, like, man, they do get like pretty difficult to keep moving around.
Yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
and we knew that we were gonna probably, move, elsewhere soon. So we got rid of a bunch of those.
No,
And
you see,
it's not. We didn't really watch all of those, but it's still. I'm just like, those were good ones though.
no, yeah,
It's the
and I think
hoarder
that
in me, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I was gonna say for me, it was just like, oh, just pick this up. I'll see it later, and later never came. So I had like hundreds of VHS that I was like, damn, I still had to get to, and I think that's pretty much what convinced me towards the end, which is like, man, if I'm not gonna see him, I'd rather somebody else watch him or whatever. And but I kept a good handful, and I mean some are collectibles. I mean, I don't care for it, but yeah, they're pretty good ones and rare, and I watch them, so I'm like, heck, I'm gonna enjoy them.
Yeah, for sure. Big
Now, of course,
fan.
as far as projects, is that the only project that you have working on as of right now?
Uh, yeah, I have I did the one in California. It's called OnlyFangs, and that
Oh, no.
was uh that was in Modesto. And so that one's going to be really fun. They are not done shooting that one yet. So that I don't know when. I'm not going to say, oh, that ought to come out whenever. I don't really know. I'm
No,
just
actually,
making an assumption.
I actually have a voiceover on that one, so that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love his work, and when that one popped up, I was like, man, I got to get on that one. It's a whole. I'm staying busy here locally, but at the same time, trying to get my name out there, even if it's in small voiceovers or whatever I can get. But
Yeah. Yeah,
really,
that one's going to be really fun. It's going to be a super fun watch. And then I went up to Pennsylvania and did the Barn 3.
oh, that's right. Oh, damn. Okay.
So that was a project I did last year. No, I'm looking to book some stuff this year. So
So if
I'm
anybody
looking
wants,
at one project right now. I can't say what it is. I can't even say anything about it. But yeah, I'm looking to book.
Nice, nice. And I mean, I've got some people on here, of course. I mean, I've got some local guys. I've got my boy Joel Castillo out here. I've got our local nerd. He said he's a huge fan of Space Babes from Outer Space. So there you go. People are watching.
Yay, me too.
No, you see, and then a lot of the films. I mean, I looked up and I was like, man, I've seen quite a few of them. So I mean, that was one of them as well. So I'm like, I knew who you were. I know what you've done, but I was like, I told people I'm nosy, so I want to know more. Right? Just gonna ask questions and see what else.
I love it.
But once again, I mean, when it comes to filming, I mean, you already mentioned as far as some of your, I guess, dramatic roles, where you actually have to perform and go there when it comes to filming. But I mean, you mentioned earlier as far as being interested in other genres. I mean, you mentioned the being a villain, but I mean, what about as far as action? I mean, what about action films or drama?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do more comedy for sure. Comedy and horror are kind of my favorite things, just
Okay.
in general. Like Dead Alive is one of my favorite things ever. It's just so stupid, and I love it so much.
Yeah. No, I'm the
It's
same.
I would love to do something like that. Like I would love to just play something absolutely ridiculous. Action would be fun. Anything that will challenge me in any sort of way. It would be super awesome. I always I always tell people, which I don't know how good I would be at this. It would definitely be a challenge. I want to play like a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to act drunk. It's really hard. So you've got to really get that one down.
You said I would have to go out at night and have people videotape me so I can study it. Be like,
Yeah,
okay,
how do I
that's
act?
what I gotta be. But yeah, I mean, I never thought about that, but yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, I mean, people play around and act drunk, but I mean, to actually do a role or actually sell it, man,
It's
that'd be
not
interesting.
easy to do at all.
And of course, I mean, when it comes to what you guys have going on out there in your state, I mean, conventions. I mean, do you guys get them out there pretty regularly?
You know what? Not really. Like the Midwest is just chock full of conventions. Like there's like Horror Hound and Days of the Dead up there. There's like there's stuff in Kentucky. There's like all kinds of stuff up there. I think the most rabid horror fans live in the Midwest. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just my experience with it. Like Cinema Wasteland was one up. I mean, it still is one. Uh up in God, I think it's close to Cleveland or shit. I don't remember what the town it's in. Everybody's gonna murder me now. No, it's like the Cinema Wasteland is like the best. It's like a little small, like everybody knows each other, like super fun. The best ones are up there. Like, I don't know. Like I had such a great time doing all that. But
Okay,
yeah, I just don't feel like they're as prevalent down here.
yeah.
I mean, like the big industries down here. So maybe people are just like, whatever, you know?
No, no, for sure. Because I mean, I just looked it up, and Cinema Wasteland has it as Ohio.
Yeah, it's in Ohio, but I don't remember the town.
It's what is it?
It's gonna drive me crazy.
Berea, Ohio. Berea.
Oh shit, that's not what I was thinking.
I've never heard of that, so that's a first for me. But
Yeah,
that's what it
I'll
says.
think of it as soon as we're done talking, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can message it to me. Be like, oh, there it goes.
Yeah. No, it's that one's awesome.
And of course, I mean, when it comes to conventions, like you mentioned earlier, I mean, working booth. I mean, are you planning on doing it this year? Or, I mean, does it depend on the projects you're working on?
We've been away from it for a long time. We do pop into the Atlanta Days of the Dead because we have some friends that run the festival there,
Yeah.
and they're always like, "Hey, you guys coming?" And we're like, we don't know," and then we end up showing up. As far
Where?
as like, we haven't had a new movie in so long. It's just like we used to show up at those places with a feature, you know.
Yeah.
So I think we want to do at least a couple this year and show up with a feature, and do, the film festival and all that jazz. But I do like doing the just the film festivals also.
No, yeah. I mean, here in Texas, I mean, we have I mean, of course, when somebody has a feature, they do a screening or whatnot. But I mean, when it comes to film festivals like Houston, Houston Film Festival is one of them. So those get pretty damn good. Because everybody
Yeah.
from all over the world shows up, and it's a great place to go network and actually definitely meet people, man. Because there's everybody's there, so gets pretty intense.
Yeah. I mean, when I had the most work was when I was doing the most conventions, when I was showing up and just putting my face out there more. I think that's really important. That's where, you know, where you can't meet people online like you can in person. You can't make an impression on somebody or get to know someone online like that.
Well, you see, my thing is like, I mean, I remember people like if I'm somewhere, I'm at a convention or I'm at an event, and I see somebody, and I'm like, man, where do I know him from? And I see this person every day through the social media, and it's like when I see him in person, I go blank. I'm like,
Like,
ah.
who's that? Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
because
always fun because I spend half the day trying to figure out who they are, and then by the time I remember, it's like, okay, I gotta go, but hey, I know you.
yeah, like having a personal conversation with someone is it's going to engrave that in your brain a lot better than just somebody's little tiny picture in the corner, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, a little thumbnail. You're like, hey.
Mhm.
Now, I mean, when it comes to acting, I mean, I always, for me personally, it's always, I always incorporate music. I mean, it's always been punk rock music, metal, from the '80s. You mentioned Dead Alive. I mean, Chopping Mall, Return of the Living Dead. All these films that, the soundtracks. So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, what music do you listen to?
Man, I'm all over the place. I like a lot of really old music. I listen to like 40s, 50s,
Oh,
60s
nice.
a lot. Like um Sam Cooke is one of my favorites. I like bands like Dream Theater. I don't know, I'm all over the place. I love like Radiohead. I love ELO. I love I don't know. Lots of I like kind of dreamier things, I guess. and my husband's always like, "You like really depressing music." But like the older stuff that I like, a lot of those songs are like, brokenhearted love songs too.
Yeah.
So, you know,
No, yeah. I always
um
tell people like for me, like whenever I start feeling depressed, and it sucks because it happens, but I always drown it out with like new wave music. I always just like kill everything to where there's nothing left, and I'm like, okay, the only way I can go is up, and that's it. But it's like I just drown myself with like Morrissey and you name it. It's just freaking the worst.
yeah.
The Bajas and just keep going. But
Yeah,
yeah.
Rancid Let's Go is a really good album for not being sad.
But let me ask you this though: if you had an opportunity, say your favorite one of your favorite bands is playing, and they asked you to get on stage and sing a song, like what song do you know that you would actually jump on stage for?
Ooh. Oh my god.
Random, but I'm
That
curious.
is so random. That's gonna be hard. Probably like just because they're happy and I love them, probably like a Weezer song.
Oh, nice. No, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I got to. I used to bounce at this place in Austin years ago, and like one day I got there. We just went to go show up, and my buddies were like, "Hey, you want to work tonight, man? It's just some band." He told me the name. I didn't know who it was. To have the night, I'm jamming out, and it was Weezer. I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like I knew who they
What?
were, but I had no idea they were playing. But I was like, "Oh hell yeah, dude!" So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're one of those happy bands for me, like, The Blue album is perfect to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good one. You see, and the reason I asked, as far as what you were saying, I would have to hum because I don't know any lyrics. Like I know the song, but I just don't know what the hell they're saying. And half the time I'm freestyling it. I make up my own words.
Yeah, yeah. I know every single word of that album. Me and my friend had a Weezer Blue album party where we bought blue raspberry vodka and we had, I think, blue snacks. I don't remember. And we just played that album over and over and slid around in the kitchen in our socks. It was a good day.
Damn. How long did that go for? Like to what time?
Well, we drank the whole bottle of vodka, so I don't exactly remember how long it went.
You see, that would have been perfect to videotape. That way you can recreate that, man, for the
We've
next
got
show.
it somewhere. We've got pictures or videos somewhere.
Man, and of course, I mean, you mentioned earlier, your husband being a cinematographer. Like going to him. I mean, when did he start? I mean, did you guys meet through films? I mean, how did you guys end up meeting?
Oh no, we met in high school. So we've been together
Oh,
since I
okay.
was 14 and he was 16.
Wow. Okay.
So that's a long time. So I started acting. Like I said, the first thing I did I think was in 2011
Yeah.
and he made his first feature in 2013.
Oh, nice.
So I had only done a few things and he was like, I want to do this too. Like he's always been like a photographer, he's always been a musician. So he's a very artistic type anyway, and he can see something, in a camera lens. So he's like, I can do this.
Man,
So
I
we
used
made that
to.
one together. That was just like pretty much just me and him, like, and a lot him, because I didn't know how to do anything besides, get in front of the camera or do wardrobe or do effects.
Or start running, right? Or get under a vehicle and be like, hey.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, when it comes to projects, a lot of times, I mean, especially here, I mean, locally, if I'm shooting something, like I always take a, a prop. I always like whatever they're using. I'll ask the director, and I'm like, "Hey, man, can I take this?" And it's like movie props. I just pick something up and I just put it in the box, and I'm like, label it or whatever. But I mean, do you do stuff like that? Is there anything that you've kept throughout the years?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, whenever we make films, there's a lot of things that I would love to keep, but that we auction off. And
Oh,
we
okay.
auction it off to, maybe pay for a composer or maybe, whatever,
Yeah.
just fund the movie more, on the back end. But yeah, there are definitely things like in Space Babes, I kept like my lip gloss. We all had a lip gloss tube and small things like that. Like we auctioned off the outfits, we auctioned off a ton of stuff, but
Oh man.
um yeah, I mean, I always like to have something small for a Jesse's super normal regular average day. I have a shirt that I still wear like all the time, and I wore that for the whole movie. I saved an ankle bracelet, just small things. Like, I'm not going to be like, can I have this big thing that if we sold it, we would make lots of money? Because I know better than that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be greedy,
Um,
right?
yeah, and I don't usually ask, but like if it's a wardrobe item and it's really small and whatever, I'll keep that. I don't, I'm gonna have the movies anyway, so I can remember them that way. I did do a short film called Born Again, and if you haven't seen it, it's only 7 minutes long and it's amazing.
Nice.
It's on Alter and it's on a compilation called Hilarious, and it's streaming a bunch of places. But there was a pentagram blanket. It's like a Satanist ritual short
Right.
film, and it's a comedy.
Oh, nice.
But they had a pentagram blanket on the ground, and I did not ask to have it. I don't believe, because I just don't think I would have done that. But I think the director asked me if I wanted to have it, and I was like, "Oh my God, yes!" So I
Yeah.
still have that. Yeah, no, I love to have things from films, but I'm usually gonna go for something small,
No, yeah. Something you can carry home, right? You're like, eh.
Yeah, something I put in my bag for the plane or whatever.
And of course, I got to post this up because I got my boy out here at the horror scene. It says, Super Bean, good friend with Spider and Ellie Church. Of course, he's fan of both. So cool, man. He just reshared it, man. So, of
Yay.
course, we got it on this page. And I've been following the horror scene for years, man. So I will say this. I mean, the guy's been blowing up and he's always dropping a lot of good things when it comes to the indie world. So he's left definitely leaving a dent. So for sure. And of course, everybody out there,
Awesome.
make sure
Thank
to
you.
follow him on Instagram because he's out there as well. So
Cool.
now, let me ask you. I mean, of course, you mentioned projects that you can't talk about. I mean, can you tell us as far as genre, like what genre are they? Can you say that?
The one I'm looking at now is horror. And most of them are, but yeah, like I said, I mean, anything. I would love to try something brand new. So,
Nice.
but yeah, horror is my comfort zone. I feel like confident in it,
No, for sure. And of course, I mean, I did post your Instagram out there, and I'll go ahead and reshare it as well. But I mean, for people to contact you, I mean, as far as if they're interested, if they want to hire you, I mean, they just find you on Instagram, or what else are you on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at Ellie Church on Instagram. I'm Ellie Church on Facebook. I'm Ellie Church on TikTok, which I don't really use TikTok a whole lot, but I am there.
Yeah.
I use my Instagram probably the most. So yeah, that'd probably be the best way to get a hold of me.
Nice. And of course, before we wrap this up, I mean, is there anybody you want to thank or anybody that you want to, send a shout out to? Because of course, I'm sure you worked with a lot of great people. So
No, yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people that says no, yeah. So no. I would love to thank Scott and Brian on our last feature Gush. They were just like man, they rule. They're really good at what they do. Scott is an amazing director. He took me places I needed to go, and Brian just held us all together like glue. And I love them both so much. And yeah, so hey, what's up, guys?
No, for sure. And of course, I mean, I am planning on bringing them in, I believe, right? Because we're gonna go ahead and try to bring them on to plug
Yeah,
in.
I think they probably want to do that closer to the time that they are about to, like, they know when their release is.
Right.
They are about to be done with the edit on the whole movie, so it's coming up really soon. But yeah, they want to do I'm sure more press whenever they know what's happening, like, exactly, so they can let people know what is going on.
No, and of course, I mean, by then they'll be able to probably put out a little bit more. I mean, I know when it comes to the film, I mean, you don't want to say too much, but I mean, people do want to watch it, so we'll definitely work on that and get them situated, closer to, definitely.
Awesome.
Man, well, Ellie Church, thank you for jumping on here. I do appreciate it. I mean, I am going to be bringing you back. I mean, once I bring them up, then I'll bring you back on and see what else you're up to. But at the same time, talk a little bit more about the film because you couldn't talk a lot about it. So we'll talk about your character, the parts, and everything else that went with it.
Fantastic. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Don't hang up yet. Everybody out there, of course, once again, this is Spider Coming Soon Podcast.